Kimberly, I want to ask you about Black Lives Matter, and well, I doubt that you're going to be surprised by this. Maybe you are. I don't know. To me, it's a racist movement. It's triggered so much violence and mayhem. Its finances and some of its fundraising is actually managed by an activist group, Thousand Currents, which is sponsored by a charity set up by the Kellogg's founder of your breakfast cereal. It has a woman, Susan Rosenberg, sitting on its board of directors, on deputy head, once arrested for her ties to a radical left terrorist group responsible for killing police and bombing. Here she is.
I just never stopped wanting to make revolution, but I was in possession of explosives and weapons when I was arrested in 1984.
Now, Rosenberg was sentenced to 53 years prison, was pardoned after 13 by President Bill Clinton's last day in office, now helping Black Lives Matter. What does that tell you?
Well, I think it's not appropriate to have someone who is a convicted terrorist on a board of an organisation that, you know, one of its stated aims is to engage in peaceful protest against police brutality against African Americans. So I think it is inappropriate, partly because of what she did. I mean, it is inexcusable, really, what she did. But I think also because it would overshadow any message that that organisation is trying to put out, or its aims that it's trying to achieve. So I think there are many, many people who could contribute to that movement, and I think, you know, to overshadow it with someone like Susan Rosenberg is really, it's not appropriate.
But to that point, James, one is there's Rosenberg, Marxist, convicted, terrorism offences. One of the three co-founders was on tape. We played it on this show, saying they were trained Marxists themselves. It's hardly like she's, you know, you've got this pure movement over here, and just this one person who's a bad look over there. I think it's a real problem, and I just wonder why so many people bend the knee to a movement led by such extremists.
Probably, Andrew, because most people are well-intentioned. Black Lives Matter as a standalone concept is an intuitively appealing thing. Of course, Black Lives Matter, and of course there have been problems with police violence in the United States and elsewhere in the world, including in Australia. But the Black Lives Matter movement has very quickly transformed to be much more than that. It's effectively been colonised by the far left politics. They have much more radical aims than just standing up for the rights of black citizens of the United States, who want to dismantle the police, who want to redistribute wealth, who have wacky ideas about justice and reparations and fundamentally changing the character of the United States of America. And yet many people in big companies, in the media or elsewhere, are still attached to that initial appealing concept and sympathetic concept and haven't kept up to date with what it's really become. And I think probably are fearful of taking on what it has become, because others will say, well, then you're against black lives, and you say that black lives don't matter.
That's correct. You're a racist. If you point out they're a communist, you're a racist.